Hello guys, welcome back. First I have something bothering me, and once I get that beyond my bonnet, I'll be fine. Do you guys remember back in the 80s or the 90s when you would get Chick-fil-A, do you remember how big those pieces were? They were so big that you had trouble dipping them into the sauce. Remember how big they used to be? I swear to the gods, I'm not confusing them with chicken McNuggets. I remember they used to be these really big pieces of chicken, and everybody used to wonder where are they getting these big chunks of chicken at? Is this like old breast meat or what is it? And I love the chicken yesterday, but these pieces, guys, were like small, like only that big, and I'm like, I remember how big this chicken used to be. I swear I remember chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A being like these really big, huge nuggets. Remember? If you do, comment below. I'm like, these are the tiniest nuggets I've ever seen. And I think I had noticed it a couple years ago. The nuggets looked a little smaller, but these boxes almost look like they took like the parts of the chicken that, you know, like they usually just throw in extra because it's like not the main nugget size. That's what it looked like. Like it was, you know, those. So I don't know. It was good chicken, but I was like, boy, these pieces have gotten smaller. They're like as big now. I remember them. They were at least like big, like a 50-cent piece, right? So that happened yesterday. And we were talking back and forth on it, and I'm like, I must be confused. But I remember one of the problems with Chick-fil-A was you could never dip that huge nugget in that tray of sauce. It was always way too big. Do you remember? And it would like one nugget could like use up your whole tray of sauce. Does anybody else remember this, or am I crazy from another dimension? Okay, moving on. I made a video for you guys, and if you saw it and you saw it come up under a different name, let me explain. I made this video for you guys, and I posted it and nobody's watching it. I'm like, okay, alright, they can't all be winners. And it was a music video, and I had made it for Loki, because I'm like, I really haven't had a Loki-specific title in a while. He would probably appreciate this. And I could not see it listed under my videos. And I could not see it in this other place. The only place I could see it is if I went to view my channel. And it kept saying no views, even though I'd watched it 4 or 5 times. And then it would like jump to 11, then it would be back down to 0. And I'm like, okay. It took me forever to figure out how to get back to it and to take it down. Because I'm like, there's something wrong with this. If I'm not seeing it visibly all over YouTube, there's something wrong. And when I went to like edit it or something, it would say this video doesn't exist. So I got rid of it. And I've been having these strange dreams that I haven't been sharing with you guys because I'm like, every random dream is not a sign from the gods. In the first dream, there was one cat, and she was running through, I guess it would be like an indoor garden. And there are all these like big black boulders, and, you know, this beautiful abundant fern foliage and everything. And she's running through there, and she leaps up, and she's running, and she keeps going. I get the idea she's going higher and higher. Kind of like an orange cat or something. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, I had a dream about a cat. That's unusual, but I've been watching Animal Miracles, so maybe I need to lay off the VR. So I actually didn't play VR today. And this morning I had a dream of a whole fleet of cats running through the same thing, like maybe 8 or 12, I couldn't tell you. It was a whole bunch of cats, all these fantastically long-haired cats that really don't exist in our world. I live with cats for decades. I thought of all the breeds, and there's no breed of cat that has quite this long hair, quite this, not a Persian, not a Norwegian forest cat, nothing. There's not even a Maine Coon has hair of this long and luxurious. It was like fantasy cats running. So I'm like, okay. Maybe Freyja's trying to get my attention. And I had kind of been on the outs with Freyja because, you know, I said she was like taking over everything from Bastet. And strangely enough, Bastet wasn't stopping her. And I'm like, I don't know if I have Bastet and Freyja or just Freyja or what is going on, but I'm really not appreciating how aggressive Freyja's being, so kind of stopped paying attention to her. And I had a thing in here for Njord, or, you know, it kept changing hands. They like seem like they want something for 2 hours and then they don't want it anymore. And I was like, well, these Vanir are just a lot to handle. And then like Freyja is either in your lap or he's invisible and you can't find him. I'm like, you know what? The Vandy are just too much trouble. I'm dealing with these here. They're consistent. They might not have sunshine personalities, but damn if they aren't consistent. I got a smile back here, very prideful. Odin may be grouchy, but you'll probably see him every day unless he has something really important to do, in which case Loki takes over and is like, you're all mine now. So, got Becker, my voice isn't that deep. Yes, it is, dear. He has this really deep voice when he wants to have it. He knows he's pretty and he knows he sounds nice. Anyhow, stop distracting me. Anyhow, Freyja and I did a bunch of weird random stuff nobody would associate with Freyja. Today we did a casserole bake I made rice with a broccoli cheese soup packet because I had cooked one of these broccoli cheeses in the microwave, and you know my fox nose. I was like, and there was something in the bottom of that cup. The smell was just coming from the bottom of the cup, whether it was the ink or whatever it was. But it was that kind of weird burnt rubber smell, and it wasn't coming from the microwave, it was coming from the cup itself. I said, well, this is some damn good soup. But one, it didn't cook long enough, and two, I do not like the odor coming off of this cup. And it's like a cardboard cup. There shouldn't be this weird, funky smell. But I'm like, I trust my nose. So we had made that, and we had some of that, and then she got the idea like a couple hours on to make like fritters of it. So we did that, and we got mashed potatoes, dry mashed potatoes, like to make in the microwave. We like mixed that in, and they tasted pretty good. And then she wanted me to make her cookies. I'm getting like this idea of these cookies I've never made in my life. My mom was a good baker. Of I think like peanut butter, you know, where you put the fork patterns, hatch patterns in them, and I'm like, you're expecting my mom. I'm sorry, but she no longer lives here, you know, physically. You know, I can bake and I can bake decently, but I'm like, I'm more of a go out and get the stuff and chop it up kind of girl. But she was after me and after me and after me. So finally I got down some oatmeal bake. I know this is a fascinating story, right? And we made that in the oven. I put some more sugar and some butter on it because we're both going to die at the same time of a heart attack. This is for treats. This is for treats. This isn't how we eat every day. So I was like, this is strange, and we watched some animal videos together, not like animal miracles, but like animal psychics, bird videos, all this random stuff, and I somehow ended up on Facebook because I was doing like research for Shrine for her. I'm like, this is really not typical Freyja behavior. And of course, everybody that loves our gods, why? Why is there a 50% chance if you find two shrines on Facebook, one's run by an everyday person and one's run by a neo-Nazi? Why? Why? So that was great, and that's another thing that kind of makes me distance myself from our gods. I know it is. I'm like, yeah, okay, fun time's over. Please go away. Ugh, please, no. And it was just, she was just being really persistent. And I had put up a video, I don't know if I told you, but I put this video up for you guys. I couldn't see it universally, so I knew there was a problem. So if you did see it and you saw it come back up under a different name, that is why, because I was like, it would jump from 0 views to like 11 to 0 to 6 to 3 to, I was like, there's something wrong. So I deleted it and I uploaded it. Re-uploaded the same exact video with a title for her. I was like, did they catch me for the title because one of Loki's names is Skywalker, or people will say Skytreader or whatever, but a lot of people say Skywalker and giggle. And I was like, did I get tagged for that? But there was like no tags or anything on it, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe Freyja wanted attention. And I was getting this bizarre thing of like, she wanted me to have a cat, and I'm like, do you know how much we're like going back and forth? And I'm like, cats cost thousands of dollars a year. $2,000 is a good estimate because you've got to get that animal to a vet, you've got to get it all the shots, you've got to get the proper tags, you've got to have flea treatment, you've got to have all these other treatments, you've got to have nutritious food, you got to have a litter box, you've got to have toys, you've got to have all the stuffs for the cat. I said they estimate 1,000 to 2,000 years a year because they're also going to need preventative medicine that down the road. And I'm like, look, if you give me the money first, I don't want just some moggy showing up on my doorstep going, eh. I said, because I don't have the money. And I don't know if it's the same in this state, but I know in New York City, if you, in Philadelphia too, I think, if you start feeding them, they're yours legally. So all their vet care and everything lands on you. I said, lady, I don't have the money to take care of these animals. Please don't just send 20 stray cats into my yard because I cannot afford to be legally responsible for 20 cats. So I don't know what that was about. And then we were talking about what color to paint the house and all this other kind of crazy random stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I just talked to Freyja or Loki's exceptionally bored and sad today. Because the day just went downhill steadily. We got up and it was cold and rainy and we both wanted donuts and there were no donuts because we ate them yesterday. And we both wanted Chick-fil-A and there's no Chick-fil-A. And they have this, when they have this craft fair, they only have it for about 6 hours for one day, twice a year. They don't have the whole weekend. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. They don't. And so we were in a cranky mood. But I don't know what it was. And I'm like, I'm not exceptionally close to Freyja. Sometimes I am. She and Freyja will be around, but I'm like, I just usually don't feel drawn to them. I don't feel called to them. And I was kind of miffed at her because she was so aggressive and she took over all this territory. And I was like, okay, you can have the territory because for whatever reason, Bastet is caving in. And Bastet's a war goddess, so this was strange behavior on her part. I said, but you can have that territory, but that's all you're getting. And I will just stonewall and shut down emotionally. And you shouldn't treat a goddess like that. But I was angry on Bastet's behalf. And I would look at Bastet and I would say, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you fighting? That's your territory. That's your thing. Do you remember me being your priestess? What's the matter with you? And Bastet would just kind of be standing there like, kind of like her ears back trying to look pretty. Like stop that. I don't know. Bastet wouldn't fight her for a position, which is very strange because Bastet and Anubis used to all be about this. Downstairs was their territory. And then Freyja and Freyr just came in and tried to take over. And I'm like, this is why people return to the church, because it's one God and they're not all going, thank you, dear. Bastet's back here. This is why we can't have nice things. People said she said that before, and she's like, yep. They're just, sometimes they're like kind of too aggressive towards the other gods. And then the Vanir, then they're totally quiet and you can't find them. At least with the Ace here, they're consistently grumpy and not happy to see you. What do you want? I got thank you, dear. I think I was Odin. But, you know, it's just a difference of dealing with the two families, and I never clicked with the Vanir. That I did not like the rain today and consider it a gift for the Vanir gods went over extremely well. Thor doesn't care. Thor will look up at the sky and go, yep, that's rain, alright. Why don't you go play in it? No, I don't think so. It's wet and cold. Okay. He doesn't care. He's really mellow and laid back. It's hard to offend him, where I feel like you kind of have to walk on eggshells sometime with the Vanic gods. He doesn't care. He understands that you have these grand plans of a nice sunny day and go out and enjoy the park or something. So I don't know if that was Freyja doing that, which is weird. It means the boys taught her how to do that. It was. It probably was just YouTube screwing up as usual, but it might have been Freyja wanting attention. I don't know. And when I said I'd like to see if it's really you, I went outside and we had coffee and talked for a while, but I did not, like, no falcon came down or no hawk or anything else. I have heard them, and I swore I heard an eagle the other day, like a sound they make, but it couldn't have been because we don't have eagles in this area, so it's been strange. I did hear the crows the other day. They were screaming at mommy. They wanted fries, and I'm like trying to tell them, and I'm actually talking to crows out loud in front of people, which look great. And I'm like, if you want fries, you come home. And no, they wanted the fries in this tree stand next to the DQ, and I'm like, no, come home and you can have fries. No, they weren't going to come home, so I start walking, and the one's complaining to the other one, mommy didn't give me fries. And I'm like, well, you know to come home to the tree stump where you can eat it and you can have a clear view and nobody can get to you and you can fly off right away. I wasn't going to give it to him up there. Talk to birds. I'm nuts. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.